But it's not what you deserve in life, it's what you earn in life. I came from a background. My dad beat me, I got in a lot of trouble. I found a way to turn it around. The kids, the millennials, give up too easily. I mean, you have to want it more than the air that you breathe.
I said, you can do it if you want it bad enough. The operative part of that is if you want it bad enough. And virtually everybody that's ever come through the seminars never wanted it as much as I did. Nobody was as hungry.
How many of you can say that you're serious about it? How many of you can actually say that you're trying to be all you can be? Now, I won't insult you by asking you to raise your hand because you'll just lie. We all know what the real answer is, don't we? You're not. And so, if you want to be all that you can be, and if you want to be a high-performance person, I did know Steve Jobs. I do know Elon Musk. I do know Warren Buffett. I do know, and they're all ball busters. Success leaves clues, kids. And they all have one thing in common. They're ball busters. They're hard as nails. What kind of sacrifices are you willing to be super successful? 60 hours a week. Nobody is willing to work 60 hours a week to be successful. Nobody is willing to miss a holiday. If you booked a holiday and something important happened in business, would you tell your family to go on the holiday without you and you're not going to go? Nobody said yes. The high-performance people, the one thing that they all have in common is they're hungry. Hungry for a better life. Hungry for change. Hungry for the tough love their parents didn't give them.
So is that what it needs? You have to be hungry. You need to feel the pain.
Growth only comes through pain. No pain, no gain. Because you're not willing to make any sacrifices to be high performance. I still work 50, 60 hours a week. And I haven't had to work in 35 years. Ted Turner just gave his 75th anniversary party on CNN a few months ago. And he makes a couple of comments, and he says, number one, and I'm not suggesting this for everybody, it's how I lived though. First 10 years of my starting CNN, I slept on my couch. I didn't have an apartment. Bill Gates slept in the office. Steve Jobs slept in the office. And I can go down a whole list. Now these are super successful, mega wealthy guys. I slept in my office. Not everybody's willing to make that sacrifice. But it's not the only thing. But even if you don't sleep in your office, if you want to send your kids to a better school, if you want to be able to take care of your mother when she gets dementia, if you want to, this all takes money. My children aren't getting any of my money when I die. Not one centavo, not one penny. And two of my kids are cool with it. One of them's not so cool with it. I'm not gonna, I think Andrew Carnegie, by the way, Andrew Carnegie, arguably the richest, most successful entrepreneur of all time, he said the best thing that you can have for a child is him to be born into poverty. And I agree. Lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth. Now they think they have self-worth. They think because they've made a few bucks. But in actuality, and when they measure it against the other 8, 10, 12 people sitting around the table, they realize, or they start to question, hell, maybe I was just lucky. Now, all of us, when you're only a one-trick guy or gal, think, was I lucky? Now, I've done it so many times, I know I wasn't lucky. I might have been lucky the first time, but I haven't been lucky the 15, 20, 40, 50, I know that.
Okay.
But maybe I was lucky the first time. But my life changed when I was pretty much a haphazard kid, got in a lot of trouble, got arrested 4 or 5 times, thrown in jail, and this was with my dad as a cop. But then I volunteered for the draft in 1966 at the height of the Vietnam War, and I went to OCS, and that changed my life because it was the really first real high performance thing that I could measure myself against with other people. 2/3 of all Fortune 500 CEOs have one thing in common: military background.
Really?
2/3 of those 2/3 have something else: martial arts. What do you learn in martial arts, Brian? Discipline, focus. A lot of people don't believe they deserve to be there. I convince them, and we have these drills, why you belong there. A lot of people that come there, with money, that have made money, think they made it by accident.
Right.
I just had one of my superstars who's made $100 million tell me in the last week, I'm not sure I'm going to have another lucky accident. And I said, you did it. I mean, you tried a lot of things. I believe Thomas Edison, I wouldn't have done it 10,000 times.
Okay.
I would have hired an engineer from MIT to do it. But I mean, I've tried a lot of things. Nobody's failed at more things than I have. And the first 100 million are successes, but I could write a book about failures that it'd be, because I've tried a lot of different things. Because failure is just testing. And one of the reasons I've been so successful in generating this equity and value in my kids, and I call you all kids, is because I convince them that making a mistake is okay. Your parents probably told you, you can be anything you want, but you can't. That's horseshit. You can't. If it's all juxtaposed. So, but what you tell them is that you can do anything you want that you have passion for, because that eliminates most of the crap. Because most people don't follow their dream. Like they say in The Sound of Music, you can't have a dream come true unless you have a dream. Now, I still dream. I dream in Technicolor. I say my affirmations and goals every single night. It's bloody hard to be a high-performance person.
So let's dive into your story a bit more. Tell us about East LA.
When I was there as an adolescent, it was almost all Mexican. And my father was a policeman. My mom was a housewife. My mother came to the United States. She crossed the Rio Grande River in 1924 as an illegal alien with her mother. And we lived almost right where downtown Los Angeles is. And my dad was a cop, and so it was easy for him to get to work. And so I got in a lot of trouble, done some awful things while I was a little kid especially. Finally, they threw me out of the school district. So we had to move to another school district, and my mother thought that I would be better there because she thought it was the environment. She didn't understand it was me. So then when we moved to the Valley, which is called the San Fernando Valley, which has become infamous now, and so I went there and I got in a lot of trouble. I was arrested 5 times. Finally, I volunteered for the draft in 1966, more or less at the height of the Vietnam War. And the Army made a man out of me. I became an officer, and the rest is really history. And it was the first high-performance thing I ever did. I didn't understand, other than I had a father who looked like a superhero, alpha male role model. Other than that, he was my benchmark. He was very athletic. He was an all-American athlete in high school, and I could barely chew gum and walk at the same time. I was very uncoordinated. So my aggression I took out on other people. I could get in fights real well. I've always been a big kid, and so but I went off into the Army. The first high performance thing I did was become an officer, and I got out of the military quite by accident. I was going to stay in the military because it was perfect for me. It was almost impossible for me to get in trouble. And they gave you crazy things to do, which I enjoyed. And then one day, I got a special award. One day I'm sitting in the officers club, and a 2-star general said, "Danny, why don't you buy the drinks for all of us?" And I said, I bought the drinks. You don't ask a 2-star general why. And then he said the magic words that changed my life. "Danny, a young man like you could get rich in the civilian world." And I swear to you, a light bulb went off over my head. I'd never thought of rich Danny Pena in the same sentence. And I applied to get out of the Army. So I went from a regular Army officer to out, and I went back to school. a 4-year education in 2.5 years, and I almost got straight A's because it was easy. It was easy. I didn't realize how bright I really was until I got in the military. Because in grammar school in East LA, they used to stand me in a corner with a dunce cap. And if I was bad, they put me in a corner, then they put me in a closet. And they keep me in the closet until my mother or my grandmother came to pick me up. But my father told me, sticks and stones can break your bones, Dan, but words can never hurt you. The first thing I did is I looked for anomalies in the federal bidding process for federal products. I saw there was the refineries across the United States were only 60% being used, and yet there was a jet fuel shortage.